Steve and Jill here. Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sweet Scottsdale, Arizona.
Today, we have the greatest treat of all. We have a long-time member, Kevin Farrell, with us, who's also Kevin's...
does consulting for us.
He does Land Academy Consulting. He's a moderator in a couple of our forums on land investors specifically. And It's just always a treat to talk to Kevin because he brings a serious expertise, but also a certain sense of, I can't describe it. Well, you'll see it in a minute. It's a type of sense of humor in this whole thing.
Welcome.
We are Steve and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more.
Kevin, how have you been since the last live event?
I've been well. I mean, the main word is well, because we've gone through this crazy pandemic. And, I'm glad I'm in the land business because I want to tell people that it has not affected my ability to acquire land or my ability to sell it, which is amazing.
I'm so happy. I want to pause and say thank you, by the way, for all that you have done for us and our other members and the consulting and the hours and the time and the welcoming new people that you put in for us. I really, really appreciate it. And I know it makes a difference and people connect with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jill. I appreciate it. It's, I still enjoy doing it. So, that's why I'm in there every day.
Yeah. I guess the same's for us too. I stopped telling people that the pandemic hasn't negatively affected us because you never know how it's going to go. I don't want to make it seem like I'm bragging or anything, but we were just all really lucky. I can't think of anything else. Just purely lucky to be in this business when this thing rolled around.
It's true.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Thank goodness I don't have a restaurant.
Catch us up.
Yeah. Perfect example.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
well,
what kind of deals are you doing? Catch us up. What's going on in your world?
Version of this. Yeah, I've been doing my version of the business, which is kind of laid back, and when I speak with people and we're doing consulting calls, they want to know how much mail to send out and what kind of targets to make. And I said, well, I may not be your role model. I'm 64 years old. And if I work 2 days a week, that's a full schedule. I'm pretty good with that. And we put ourselves in a position financially where our needs are not really that high. So I'm all about being comfortable with what I'm doing. I have also been trying to find my niche. I think all of us in this land business, we're always kind of trying to figure out, where's our niche, either geographically or property type, whether it's desert or commercial or infill, et cetera, et cetera. And I've learned some things. I've had some real good lessons the past year or two. I would say the 5-acre lesson is a big one that I want to pass on to experienced and new people. There's just something magic, Steve. You've said it before. People want 5-acre properties. I don't care really where you are. If you're selling what I call small properties, if you're doing 5-acre properties, that phone's going to ring more than if you had 1 to 2 acre properties or even 10-acre properties. In the right market, the markets I'm working in, I do 5-acre properties with an expected 10K profit margin on each one. So that's kind of my sweet spot. I'm doing some others in more expensive areas where I expect more of a 10 to 20K profit, but those 5 acres in some of these rural areas where mobile homes are allowed, they turn over really quick and there's good profit margin.
Jill and I just bought a 5-acre property. We closed on it, less than a week ago. And I went to go see it. I usually don't, but I just, because I love the area. And I walked it. I put some pretty good sized boots on and walked it. And when you walk 5 acres, it is huge. I mean, if you can't live on 5 acres, let's say even 3 to 5 acres, something's wrong. Like, you're farming something or you've got some other application or growing, or raising some type of animals or boarding animals. So I agree with you completely. This is great advice. What other advice do you have for us, Kevin?
I stumbled into something really, really good. And there are several states out there where marijuana grow operations are legal. If you've got the right county and the right property size, again, 5 acres is perfect. they think two's a little small, but a lot of the guys who want to do what they call an MMJ operation, they think 5 acres is absolutely perfect. Those guys will ring the phone off the wall if the zoning is right. So I've really done really well with several sales. I'm not going to name the states that I'm working in because every time we do that, of course, inundated with company. But some of the states that are new to this don't have that many restrictions compared to states that have already established this, like in Colorado. So I'm getting people calling me. They're coming. They're in the business already. They're calling from Colorado and California, but they want property where I'm doing business, and it's because there's just no restrictions.
I guess we're all kind of trying to find a niche in life. I'm going to talk. Actually, I'll do a show on this next week, or we will.
Feels like Kevin has his niche.
Yeah, that's right.
You and I just had a conversation, truth time. We had a family conversation today because one of us, not me, was veering from our niche pretty dramatically. Yep. And we were hitting, we were having some red flags and hitting some walls and having some obstacles. And one of the main obstacles was just time to do what we wanted to get done. And at the end of the day, we had to sit back and go, do we really want to do this? Do we want to be those people? Or do we really want to do what we do best and fast and move on? And that's what we decided. And I'm like, I'm happy to be loud about it, because, know what you're good at and make the best of it and chill out. And so what if other people are making money in other areas? Like we're just saying, we could all, by the way, find the perfect property and start our own marijuana, growing business. Do we want to do that? Heck no. Is it highly profitable? Oh yeah, but that's not what I want to do. It's too much work.
Sometimes you have to stray to come back to what you already knew. You didn't know if it was perfect at the time.
There you go. Not in relationships.
Yeah, I really agree with that because I'm always kind of reaching out and trying slightly different things with my offers and my, the type of land I pick. But it really comes right back to very rural counties. I had another thought I was going to share here, another lesson thing. Talking about staying with what we know. Had a beautiful property. A guy called me yesterday, a 20-acre property. Just gorgeous. It was landlocked, and it was a pretty good distance from the road, like I'm talking 1,000 feet. And I talked to this man. He was very reasonable on price. He accepted the offer in my letter. And I said, well, this looks landlocked. Is that right? Or do you know if there's an easement? And he said, no. He said, right now, I've talked to my attorney. We're getting it through probate because it was my mother's and she died. And so we're getting getting it ready to sell. And your letter came in. And I said, well, I really can't go forward with the purchase because I don't buy them if I don't have access. And, he explained to me, well, I talked to my attorney about that, and he has told me that you can get access even if the neighbor refuses in the state that I'm in. It's a requirement that they have to provide the access, access through an easement, even if you have to sue them. That's kind of a formality that you have to do. But then you have to purchase the land from them. So it could be 2 or 3 acres. And I'm thinking, well, it's possible, but then, there's going to be a road. Somebody's got to grade a road there, and they're going to want a fence. And the fence is going to cost 3 or 4 times what the road grading would cost or more. And I just told them, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not going to do it. And then I slept well.
Yep.
Exactly.
Then you got to put up with a Hatfields and McCoy situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I say, when people do consulting with you, Kevin, what are some of the top questions that they ask you? I'm really curious.
Yeah, this comes up a lot. I even wrote them down here. I put a post on the forum and I was addressing that content. So what people want the most help with, especially people that are new to this, they want help with pricing. So sometimes they'll call me up. It's either pricing or picking a county. It's one or the other or both. And we go through all of that. For the past year, doing 30-minute calls, I could just get through that in 30 minutes if I really ran really hard. And typically, if I didn't have a call scheduled, just like you do, Steve, I would just say, keep asking questions. We'll just stay on the line. Most of those calls run an hour. So that's why, we've decided to go with an hour phone call, because that's about the right content, especially with people who have either a lot of questions or don't even know the right questions to ask. And then, we can really dig in there a little bit and give them time to formulate questions while we're talking. But a few other things that people ask: they want help picking a county. They want help with pricing. They've got questions about the training. Now here, I haven't talked to you specifically about this, but I tell people the foundation of the training is cash flow from land from 2015. The other stuff is next level stuff, 1.0, 2.0. A lot of new people are jumping in at 1.0. They want to use the spreadsheets. They want to download the data. They want to do all of that. And I try to pull them back and say, I think you would do better if you read CFFL, understand it, and do a few deals so that you know what the business is about. That's not to, discredit almost a year's worth of work that you put into building all of that stuff. But that's how I see it. I think everything that somebody needs to know is in cash flow from land to get into this business and see where they want to go with it. And then the rest of them, they're just tools for doing bigger, better things.
Great.
How do they respond to that?
They're pretty receptive. Some of the people have come to me and they've already heavily invested in digesting Land Academy 1.0, and they have questions about downloading the data from Realtor.com and how the spreadsheet works. And I just tell them that's really not my specialty. That's not where I really help people the most. And so we steer away from that and get into how I pick a county, and that's just based on your training and some of my experience and some of the habits that I've picked up. Other things beyond questions about training, they want to review their data before they send it. So, that's a good thing to do. When I had my first data set, I had 1,600 records ready to send to Socorro County, New Mexico, and I just wasn't feeling really confident. So I scheduled a call with Jill. And Jill looked at the comps, she looked at my pricing, she looked at everything, and she said, Kevin, you're going to own Socorro County. And Jill, I think I bought more than 10 properties out of that. So yeah, that was a pretty big one. And Socorro County is a real difficult county to work in because they're probably the most archaic county in the U.S. Maybe not the most archaic, but I started having to send college students that I would pay into the county offices to get the deeds because they wouldn't send them to me. So it's that kind of county. You can do some deals there. So, yeah, you can do some deals there, folks, but you're going to have to be patient.
You got to wrestle with them on everything. The proximity to Albuquerque is amazing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. The one last thing I had in here for questions, would you do this deal or deal reviews? So some people just call me up and they'll email me a big list, and usually if I can, I'll review them before the call and I'll have my notes and then we'll just chug through them. Would you do this deal? And those are really productive. I mean, I know I have worked with people where they've sent me 4 deals and I've gone no, and maybe. And they're very pleased because they don't want to do the no's. They don't want to get into those. And I teach them the reasons. You've got to have access. It's nice to have power nearby. You can't be on a cliff, things like that. That when you're new, you're just so eager. Let's send that mail out and let's buy everything that comes in. And you have to kind of pull them back from that.
I would say we are twice as selective about what we actually buy or what we deal fund as we were even 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I'd say too. Yeah. I'm super picky now because there's just so much out there. Kevin, there's just good stuff coming back. I can be picky.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Jill, I did a partner deal. I did a partner deal with you in Northern California, and I learned a whole lot of people don't like those big, high-powered electrical towers on their property. The property that you and I had bought together out there, you can build under it, not a home, but you can put barns and stuff. It was 20 acres and half of it was overshadowed by this big easement, and people just wouldn't have it. So
Right.
I learned not to do that. Every year, there's 2 or 3 good lessons like that. I know the question didn't come up yet, but I'm going to volunteer this one. I wanted to talk to you about who schedules these calls with me, because it's kind of interesting. Obviously, the most frequent ones are new Land Academy members. And of course, those are the ones who, I feel like I'm reaching out to. You've done your homework. You've got questions because you've done your homework. And you're, trying to get the ball rolling. That's good. And those are really productive. But I also do some calls from people who are forum members, and they're not really Land Academy members, but they want to get into the business. And I encourage them. Some people will have questions about, gee, is this a real business? And who can I talk to? And, I have them give me a call and we chat on it for 30 minutes or so. I've talked to some Land Academy members who they've done their first 5 or 10 deals and they want to know what's next. And we talk to them about that. Now, what I can tell them is my history, what I went through, starting with Desert Squares, moving into other things. It took me a while to break out of the smaller properties, 1 acres to 5 acres. And I realized, well, there's 20s and there's 40s and, on up. And in the desert, 40 is as good as 5. They sell almost the same. Some of those people are people who have a serious question about whether they should consider land investment as a business. Again, I can share, some of my experience. I tend to share experiences of others that I've met through Land Academy who have much larger goals than I do. I know people that are doing $100,000 a month, every month, all month. That's not what I do, but if that's what you want to do, you can do it. You have to be able to build your business process. For a lot of people, I just wrote a note here. Some of them are just a little bit stuck and they just need a little push. They need a little help to keep moving. What I did here, I wrote down some things that people left some comments on what they got out of their call with me. Here's one. It says, I remember my consultation call with you a while back, and it was pure gold. In parentheses, a $42,000 profit. Another one, I still consider myself a new kid in my head, but I'm getting along nicely for a year and a half in the land biz. Another one is, truly any single person that taps into your experience will definitely benefit from your multiple years in business and your sterling expertise. Now,
I never
this last one, this last one, this is the guy that I worked with. I think he has scheduled 2 paid calls, and typically if people have follow-up questions, I just give them my email and say, just email me. If it's overwhelming, we'll schedule another call. But when I first talked to this gentleman, and his name is Dan, by the way, he told me he was doing all these deals. So here's his quote. I was in a slump in my land business, and I sent out 14,000 letters with one deal where I made $1,000. I found out about Kevin and decided, what do I have to lose to do a consulting call? I was spending thousands on mail, so what's another 100, 200? Well, after the first call, I did a county and got 3 deals out of that and made $35K. I highly recommend Kevin. You should try him out. So not all of my...
Excellent.
Yeah, not all of these people leave comments, and I should probably encourage them to post that on the forum. I wanted to tell you that I tried to figure out how most of these people hear about giving me a call. The last podcast we did was almost 2 years ago, and people go through and they watch all the old podcasts and they'll pick up on that and they'll say, oh, I saw your podcast, so I gave you a call. Some of them get it from the forum, and some of them are getting referrals from other Land Academy members who have talked to me. So, I think it's a growing community. Some of these guys are repeat customers. There's a lot of sharp people out there. It's always a blast to talk to them. What can I say? I do like helping people. I like helping on the forum. I try not to come off as the overall expert. I usually am expressing my opinion. This is what I think. This is what I think I would do. But I think it's beneficial to somebody that's just getting their feet on the ground.
Well, everything I've ever heard is totally positive. So we can't thank you enough.
Exactly. Please don't get burned out, because we need you for another 5 or 10 years. Yeah. Okay, Kevin?
Well, that's why I limit my calls to just Monday afternoon. I don't want my schedule spread out all over the place. I'm not a workaholic anymore. I used to be. I used to sleep about 4 or 5 hours a night. I would outwork. I was never smarter than the people I worked with, but I could work circles around all of them.
Same thing with me.
Yeah, that's true. Just kidding.
Which part, Jill?
Not true.
Hey, are you rebuilding any super cool motorcycles right now?
No, I sold my last super cool motorcycle about a year ago, Steve. I had a completely restored 74 Kawasaki 3-cylinder 2-stroke. It was just a menace. It was unbelievable. And I'm not doing that anymore.
Easier to buy 5 acres and mark it up 10 grand and walk away.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny thing I got into for a short time. This was, I started this about a year ago. I ran onto some guy's site and he promotes buying and selling expensive timepieces. And this is just like the land business. You buy it at the right price, you sell it at a discount. Unfortunately, unlike the land business, you're dealing with Facebook Marketplace and eBay, other slimy marketing areas. And I actually right away bought about $10,000 worth of used watches, which I got a big kick out of. I'd wear them, here and there. And I was selling them, but the amount of fraud being perpetrated through those channels that I spoke of is just unbelievable. People buying stolen credit cards, but having shipped to a freight forwarder so that by the time you realize the card's no good, the watch is in another country. There's an awful lot of excellent fakes out there. Omegas, Rolexes, Panerai, you name it. The fakes are out there and they're so darn good. The Chinese, should just start selling, competition watches with the Swiss. They're almost there. So I did that for a short time and then let it go. I was making, $500 or $600 per deal, and I was putting in 2 or 3 times the effort that I would put in on a land deal. And it was just ridiculous for me.
Yeah, for my personality type, every single other business I've tried, probably half of what I've tried didn't work. And the other half was so hard that it wasn't worth it. And so, between the Land Academy education companies, O2O and the supporting products that we've created, and then the real money's in buying and selling land, this turns out, I guess this is what we're going to do.
I guess so. He needs to test the water now and then. But yeah, it all comes back to land.
Kevin just did the same thing.
Exactly.
He strayed a little bit.
Motorcycles and jewelry and watches. I get it. Yeah.
I'm super happy for your success, and I'm really, really glad you joined us. I don't know when we're going to have another live event, but I think you've presented at least one, maybe both of them. So yeah, we'd love to have you back.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I know you can't schedule it yet, but maybe soon. Maybe you'll be able to figure out when.
Yeah. And my fingers crossed is maybe next October we'll just get right back on our regular schedule. We'll see.
Yeah, we're in Arizona now, and it's really day by day it's opening up more and pretty dramatically every day. So hopefully we can do one here and be in compliance.
Right. That is not in his DNA, by the way, in compliance.
It takes one to know.
Thanks. That's true. I'm worse.
Want to close us?
Any last parting words you have, Kevin, for folks getting ready to schedule a call or anything you want to share about this?
Yeah, this call seems to be all about me, so thank you. I'm going to be trying to promote this a little bit more as we go forward. The forums, my biggest opportunity. I usually tell people, hey, I'm trying to help you here, and if you're not getting enough help, if you need more help, I'll PM them and say, hey, you might think about a call where we can really, spend some time on this because it sounds like you could use the help. I would encourage people that have had a good experience, if they're having a conversation with another Land Academy member, have them give me a call and, I'll help them out. Be more than happy to, really.
Awesome.
I'm wondering, Kevin, if you're on Discord at all, because I think there's a lot of people you could help there too. I haven't checked yet to see.
Yeah, actually, I'm not on Discord. In fact, I recently personally disconnected from Facebook and Twitter and almost all social media. I find I don't do well with it. I'm not that comfortable with the environment. I can look at Discord, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I understand. You'll have fun in Discord. That's good.
Discord's all closed. It's not, it's another way for landinvestors.com for all of us to communicate.
Just the members.
I completely agree with you on that other stuff. Completely.
Right. I hear you. It's more private. I'll check it out.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Again, we appreciate you. We're glad you're here and glad that you're with us. And anything you need, always let us know. You find another smoking deal and you're out of cash, let me know. I'm right here ready to write you a check, Kevin. Well, how
I've
you
got
doing
some.
today? 5 days a week.
I've got some fairly large offers out there. So if any of those get accepted, I'll be needing a little bit of funding.
Done. Done. Well, 5 days a week, you can find us right here on the Land Academy Show. Anything else you want to say?
No, thanks again, Kevin. It's always a pleasure and always
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
We hope you find our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.